Today, I got a phone call that really jump started me. I'm a big Facebook guy, not because I'm a big socialite. I just I do it for information for myself and to spread information about the cannabis plant and its healing properties. And every morning, there is a guy named Hesh who always has the most positive, inspirational quotes, sayings, statements, pictures, photos. So I messaged him and I said, how the hell do you find the energy to get up every morning and be so damn positive? Do you have any tips or tricks or gurus or idols or mentors or anybody that you spoke to or anything that's tragic that happened in your life that made you want to be so positive? And what he told me next really blew me away. And that's the other thing. I've never been an emotional guy, and like every girl I've ever dated and guys I've known, I've always said I'm robotic because I never cried or showed tears or emotion. And after this episode with an unbelievably relentless disease, I'm a dramatic mess. I I bawl at the drop of a hat. And when I asked Hesh this question or these questions, he said, I swear to God, every morning I wake up at 3:30 to start my day. And I think to myself, Jason Berger's got it tough. He's got the fucking rough life. How the hell does he get up every day? So you're my inspiration. You're the reason that I do it. Do you have any idea how many people you inspire daily with your story? If you don't get your story out there, actually, I'm going to help you get your story out there. And he invited me to his office to do some sort of project board or something. Maybe next week sometime. And he got me thinking that I do have one hell of a story. When I was reading the history that my girlfriend Liz, who is a complete godsend, like truly a godsend. Let me sidebar story. So I've been dating a girl for about 8 years, and we went our separate ways. And I tried the internet dates, and they were comical at best. I mean, if I put on my profile that I'm looking for athletic and toned, and you have pictures of you being athletic and toned, and when you show up there, you're not remotely athletic and toned, that's an issue. At that time, I had just lost 2 inches off my neck, 4 inches off my chest, 4 inches off my waist, over 50 pounds. And the one girl was just a bitch. And I says, hey, I lost 50 pounds. Looks like you found it. Obviously didn't go over well. So, when I first got sick last year, or almost 2 years ago now, I couldn't walk. I needed a walker. So I I put it out there, hey, I'm looking for a walker. I was sleeping 15 or 20 hours a day. I couldn't walk. So I get a message. You might want to read this article. And it comes from this Elizabeth Novi. Always known her since elementary school. We were a very, very small school. She was a year behind me. And she says, I'm a nurse. And I specialize in cancer. You might want to read this article. So I read it, and it was awesome. And I messaged her back. I says, if you have any more of this, and you got the time, and you're so inclined to do it, I would love more. Well, she floods me with just a ton of info. So then I start creepily Facebook stalking her. And I didn't know if she was married, if she had kids. I found out she was down in Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm up here in Brooklyn Heights, Ohio, just south of Cleveland, about 10 minutes south of Cleveland. Right at the corner of 77 and 480, if that helps. And I messaged her. I said, hey, Liz, if you ever come back in town for any reason at all, I like to take you out for coffee or lunch or something just to thank you for all the info you gave me. I said, I'm feeling a lot better now. And she says, actually, I'm looking to move back home anyways because my mom's getting up in age and I want to be closer to home and be closer to her. I'll be in town this particular weekend. So I invited her down my boat and we hit it off. And we were up till like 3 o'clock in the morning talking like teenagers. And I said, I want to see you again. She said, yeah, I want to see you too. How about tomorrow? Okay. We spent the whole day together. And I have always heard this, but I never understood it. I've heard, you'll know the one when you know. Never got that. I knew on the second date, I was going to spend the rest of my life with this woman. And we started dating. And we get about a month in. And I says, hey, Liz, my short-term memory is really, really poor. But my long-term memory is pretty spot on. I said, am I off base in stating in elementary school, specifically 4th and 5th grade, you had a crush on me? And she gets bright red in the face. She goes, how do you remember that? I said, your face tells me I'm correct. She says, yeah. Not only was it elementary school, junior high, and high school, and I'm a 45-year-old woman living out my lifetime crush. You've checked boxes, every box I ever had, and you check boxes I never even knew I had. To be dating you is a dream come true. How many people could honestly say that they have found their true soulmate? And then when my cancer came back, so I'm sorry, we started dating and I flew down to Georgia, Atlanta, and we loaded up a moving truck and drove it back here. Stopped at Cincinnati where she used to live, stopped at a couple places she used to work, and everybody just raved about how awesome she was. How I lived this long. And what's really crazy is her mom lives right around the corner from me. I could probably hit it with a pitching wedge. She's that close. But then again, I hit my pitching wedge long. So she's been a stalwart on my health and making sure I've got the best treatment and the best of everything. A little OCD and over the top, but she's got some, she told me this morning when I was a bawling, blubbering mess about what Hesh said about me. And she said, you're the poster child for all those people out there that have lost lost family and loved ones to cancer. You're my poster child because of the loss of my dad and my brother. Ironically, back in '01, when my mom was sick with liver and colon cancer, I wanted no stone left unturned to find a cure for her. And everybody kept telling make sure you go see Chuck Noble. So I go see Chuck Noble. And we talked about it. Fast forward 17 years, and I'm on that same drive I was in talking with Chuck, and now I'm making out with his daughter like a teenager. Crazy. What's really crazy is the fact that this person has been in my life my whole life. And it's a shame we didn't get together sooner. But her and I discussed this, and I think we both had to get through what we had to get through to get to this point in our lives. I was quite a boozer. I loved my Captain and Ginger, my vodka and pineapple juice. I have not had a drink in over 2 years. So, about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I'm on a silly Facebook again, and I get a pop-up. Open up near you, Cleveland Cannabis College. I think it's spam, so I delete it. A couple minutes later, it comes up to my feed again. I click on it. It looks pretty legit. I look at the address, literally right down the road from my house. So I go down there for the 2-day Saturday, Sunday class. Second day of class, the CEO, young guy, not even 30, pulls me in his office, says, I'm looking at your application here. Your story is intriguing me. Would you tell me a little bit more about it? So I give him the short version. He says, that is one hell of a story. You want to share a story? I said, I'll share a story with anyone who wants to listen to it. He says, if you share the story under the school's name, I'll do what I can to help you out with it. I'll pick up this weekend class, and I'll do what I can to help you out with the rest of the school. I said, I was never much of a student, but I'll take that class. Or I'll take that offer. The first class was the history of cannabis. Holy shit. Up until 1937, cannabis, hemp, marijuana was the number one cash crop in North America. When I say North America, that's US and Canada. Up until 37, it was used for ropes, paper, twine. Henry Ford actually made a car, the panels out of hemp, and it ran on hemp oil. They did the white glove test through the engine, and no black oil, completely clear. In 37, there were major players involved that made this plant that's never killed anybody the most evil weed on the planet for none other reasons than greed. One of them was called William Randolph Hearst, who owned the majorities of the newspapers in the United States. He also owned paper mills and tree farms, and realized that 1 acre of hemp could produce what 4.1 acres of trees could produce, and do it in a fraction of the time, months instead of years. So now this evil plant needs to be no more competition. So he had influence on another man named Harry Anslinger, who was appointed the position to the head of the Bureau of Narcotics, what later became the DEA. He held that position for over 30 years. William Randolph Hearst had influence on Anslinger to make this plant, again, that has never killed anybody, and began the most evil propaganda, bullshit, 80 plus, still going on to this day, propaganda bullshit. And not only did he make the plant illegal, he made it what's called a Schedule 1 drug. For a drug to be Schedule 1, it has to have two major criteria. One, it has to be highly addictive, which it's not. And two, has to have zero medical value, which has been used for medicine for millennia. So since this plant is now on Schedule 1 in the U.S., the U.S. cannot do any testing on it. Well, just because they're not testing here in the States doesn't mean they're not testing it in the world. Israel is leading the world on this. Dr. Raphael Mechoulam, back in the early 90s, discovered that every mammal on the planet has what's called an ECS. ECS stands for endocannabinoid system. It regulates just about everything in the body. There's a CB1 receptor in the head, in the brain, and a CB2 receptor in the peripheral bodies. There are more receptors in the CB1 receptor ECS than in the whole body combined. There's more receptors, and that is why cannabis works so well on cancer, brain cancers. I'm sorry, I left out. The cannabis plant has over 200 cannabinoids, and there's only one cannabinoid, THC, that creates a psychoactive effect, and that's only after it's been heated. These cannabinoids work in what they call a entourage effect. All the cannabinoids work together, and they go to that receptor, and they shut off the cancer. It's been proven in mice, it's been proven in petri dishes, but there's never been proven in an actual study. But I just found out, literally a couple days ago, there's a woman in California named Mara Gordon. She's actually an engineer, and she was in a wheelchair and drooling due to a back surgery that they nicked one of her, some kind of nerve, and she was messed up. And her friend came over and started smoking a joint. And she says, "Get that out of my house. Go in the garage." And she says, "You know what? What the? Give me a hit of it." She said 2 puffs of it, and she said her back pain went from a 9 to a 2. And she, from that, it's a longer story than that, but from that, she ended up opening up a company called Anzelda's. And she now has a database with different cancers and different, they're commonly known as strains, but the proper term is varietal or cultivar. It's a plant. Strain is a bacteria or a virus. So she's got these terpene profiles and these different varietals and cultivars, and she's got a database with this type of cancer takes this percentage THC, this percentage CBD, CBN, CBG, and this terpene and that terpene, and they've got a 70% success rate on, and it's only getting better because they're getting more data. And then there's another doctor up in Maine on the East Coast, Dr. Dustin Sulak, who's doing similar with his cannabis. And I just got a message today from Liz that less than half of the colleges or medical schools even teach the endocannabinoid system. They're literally limiting their knowledge on the largest system in the body. If you're in a medical profession, wouldn't you want access to every weapon in the toolbox? I know I would. I just went to the Cleveland Clinic the other day, to the functional medicine clinic, to see Dr. Bergman, who was unfortunately leaving. And he made a statement that really made me feel like I'm doing something good. He said, had you not been an outlier and did all your alternative stuff, you probably would not be alive today. He said it's outliers like you that push the envelope and experiment that advances. And unfortunately, he's leaving the clinic.